Hi, my name's Alex Gomez, founder of Dune Case, and today we'll be talking about the Dune Pro case. We'll be talking about the latest updates here in Hong Kong and in China and the potential delivery of the Dune Pro case in the near future. But before I talk about the updates, I would like to personally thank everybody that has supported us so far. Our supporters, our backers, our sponsors, they have all been part of this journey that has taken us through into 2020, and I'm happy to announce that we are very, very close to taking that next step in getting the Dune Pro into the hands of everybody. So a special thank you to everyone that supported us so far. Now, in our last update, we talked about traveling restrictions and what it took for me to get out of Bali to Jakarta and Jakarta into Hong Kong. And from our last update, I was stuck in Hong Kong in quarantine for 14 days. And it is only last Monday that I was able to do my 14-day quarantine, and I'm happy to say that I've done my 14 days and I'm out free from the room, and I'm happy to be roaming the streets of Hong Kong again. I haven't been to Hong Kong for a good 4 or 5 months, and this is a great place, a beautiful place. I love Hong Kong, and it's good to just to be here again and appreciate what Hong Kong has to offer. So I'm out of quarantine as of last week, and at the moment I'm in the process of doing my visa into China. And previously it's been quite an easy task, in the sense that every time I applied for a business visa, the requirement has always been that I have a letter from the factory or the company that I'm doing business with, and I submit that to the Chinese embassy here in Hong Kong, and in a few days I'll be able to get a business visa. But as of March 2020, the requirements have changed, and if you've had a visa before March that was valid way into the future, let's say that was valid until 2025, then you will no longer be able to enter into China, and you must apply for a new visa. So any applications that were approved before March 2020 is no longer valid, and if you want to go into China, you must apply for a new visa. I'm in that category because I was stuck in Bali in March, and I had a visa before, and I'm in the process of right now applying for a new visa. However, the requirements have changed, and the new requirements now for visas into China for foreigners is that not only you need a letter from the business that's inviting you, so you need an invitation letter from the business in China that's inviting me. You also need the company in China also needs to register your invitation with the Foreign Affairs Department in China. And this application or this registration needs to be stamped by the government. And after I receive this registration form stamped by the Foreign Affairs and a letter from a business letter from the company in China that I'm doing business with, I have to have those two letters, and once I receive them, I can then go to the China embassy and apply for the China visa. Now, that sounds very easy, but to get an approval letter for the invitation from the Foreign Affairs Department in China, it's not as easy as it seems. It's a bit of a grey area for me for the last week, and I've been spending a lot of time meeting with a lot of different people, going to different agencies trying to figure out how to get into China to resume the production of the Dune Pro case. So in the last week, I've successfully COVID-free, which is great. I've been able to see my family. Also, I've been looking at getting a visa into China. Now, it's still uncertain on the status of when I would get it, but in the last 24 hours, I was able to receive some great news that there might be a chance for me to go in there. Just to give you an idea, I went to the agency that I normally do my visa with last week, and normally they are packed. But this time there was only like one application in all of Hong Kong that was in that visa place. So it is a little bit difficult to go into China at the moment. It is real. I'm here on the ground reporting this, and I'm seeing it with my own two eyes. So this is the current process at the moment. It is a little bit difficult, but not impossible. So I'm trying to work with what I have and trying to get myself into China as soon as possible. So that's the update on the visa. Now, in regards to a roadmap going forward, there's been a lot of questions like why I can't go into, why do I need to go into China? Why, why couldn't you get someone to do it? Well, let me just start with this. We have had a successful campaign, and thanks to every backer out there, they are the ones that made this successful. So we've had a successful campaign. We have nearly $1 million in funds that are going towards the production, and this is all good news. But as we come closer and closer to finalize this, I need to personally have a look at certain aspects of the production. And it's just not me. It's not about me being there. It's also about the relationships, the interrelationships between the vendors, because it's not just one factory doing everything. We have like 4 or 5 factories doing different components. So there might be someone to do the stainless steel. There's a factory that does the stamping that happens inside the case. There's another factory doing CNC, and there's another factory that's doing the surface treatment, such as the sandblasting and an anodization of the aluminium parts. And there's also someone that we need to source, that we have, that supplies us with the aluminium sheets. Now, we have to manage all the relationships, and the problem is that when problems happen, no one wants to admit that that the factory was at fault. So I'll give you an example, very simple example. You have a guy that has the raw material. He turns that raw aluminium into aluminium sheets, and in our case, it's 3 millimeters aluminium sheets. So he's the supplier now that supplies us with the aluminium sheets. He has a big order from us. He sends those aluminium sheets to the stamping factory. The stamping factory receives it, and they use our molds to make the parts, and they stamp it, and it becomes a part. Now, when I have a look at inspect the part before it gets shipped out, I'll look at it, and there might be scratches. There may be scratches. Just say in this case there is a scratch. I asked the factory, the stamping factory, how come this has got scratches on it? One possibility could be the molds, and we've had a look at the molds, and they've polished the molds, and that was an issue before. But just say it's not the molds. The factory may say, hey, it's not our fault. The supplier that gave us the sheet metal supplied us, the quality's not good, and they've got scratches on it when they send it to us, and that's why there's scratches there. Okay, I'll say, okay. So I go to the sheet metal factory, and I'll say, hey, the stamping factory is saying that you have scratches on you're supplying them with sheet metal that have scratches on them. And they're like, oh, no. Every time we send something out, we do an inspection and we make sure there's no scratches on the metal. So as you can see in this very simple illustration, the stamping factory will not take responsible and will not admit that it may be their fault. And the guy that supplies the metal sort of says, hey, it's not us, it's very easy. We just send it to those guys. So the scratches doesn't happen with us. It's the stamping guys. And in between that process on the delivery and the handling of the sheet metal, hey, there might be something that happens that causes the scratches. So these are all the little details that happen. These are all the little details that must be taken care of between the vendors, and the relationship from vendor to vendor needs to be managed properly. All right, and it can be a very, very difficult task. And if we send someone in there and they can't, and they just say, hey, there's a scratch here, there's a scratch there, maybe that person doesn't have the skills to negotiate the terms with the two different vendors. There's a lot of things that need to happen in between. And it's not simple. Send someone, get him to check it and get him to tick it off. I wish it was that simple. But when we are doing a project that is, we're trying to make the Dune Pro cost effective and so everyone can afford it, and at the same time high in quality, we have a very limited budget to work with, and I can't be hiring hundreds of people to oversee this, oversee that. We have a very small team, and we're very lean in our approach. So as much as it's easy to just hire someone and give them $1 million decision to start the production, these are all the little details that really require someone with expertise such as myself to go in and make sure we're not going to waste money. Because once we press that green light and you have not done all those checks and made sure that all those relationships are established before you green light, it's just too late. Once you press that green light, you cannot go back. Once the factory starts stamping those things out, you can't change those molds. And if they do have problems and you want to go back into production to redo the production, you have to set the line up. It takes a few days. You got to get the workers ready, and it costs that factory a lot of money. So I don't believe that the approach of me going into China is a bad one. I do believe it's the best solution going forward, and we've chosen that path, and we are very close for me to go into China and to finalize the production. So on the production side, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the visa. Once we get the visa, in the last couple of months, the team has been working very closely with all the factories to make sure that they are ready for when I come into China. So Kevin's been working closely with the various factories, and it's not like we haven't been doing anything. It takes a lot of work and effort to make sure the schedules are right. So that's where we're at with the production. We're just really waiting for me to go into China. Now, another exciting news is that we have committed to all our backers that we will start delivering at the end of November. Now, this is great news for for the whole community. Let me say that again. We will start deliver in November 2020. Well, we aim to, because we believe that after I get my visa into China, that it should be quite straightforward to start the production. So we set that target, November 2020, and we will start delivering the Dune Pro cases in November 2020. So this is great news for everyone. It's given, a lot of people have asked, why haven't you put a target date? Well, we don't want to put a target date and then miss that target date. And we believe now is the time. We have a couple of months in between from September, October, and November to sort this all out. Hopefully the situation in China improves. But we believe and we're confident that we will be able to deliver in November the Dune Pro case. So this is great news for everyone, and we're in the process of updating our Indiegogo campaign, and we've told the guys on Discord about this. So we've updated the community about this, and a lot of people are very excited about this, that we are delivering this case 2020 November. So that's it, guys. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing it. And I'm very excited. And trust me, I am also frustrated about this situation. It's not like I'm delaying it. And some people said, oh, they're not going to deliver. There's a lot of doubts. And look, I fully understand. But let me make something very clear that we are here to stay for the long term. We invested hundreds of thousands of dollars of your money into production molds to take this into mass production. Now, if we were going to, be a hit and run, we wouldn't make those investments in production molds, but we did, and that's where we see Dune case, or the Dune Pro case, being in the future. Is that we just don't see this as a one-off, 3,000-4,000 pieces. We potentially want to be doing this, producing this every month, and fulfilling those orders. So, good news for everyone. Delivery on our target delivery date is November 2020, and we hope that we can have everyone's support for us to get in there and get the Dune Pro case out to everyone. So look, it's a little bit longer than normal, this update, but we are very excited that we are able to commit to a delivery date, a potential delivery date, November 2020. I'm in the process of getting my visa. I'm here on the ground, I'm here in Hong Kong, as you can see behind me, and I'm just waiting for my visa. And lastly, again, thank you everyone for your patience. It's not an easy time, it's not an easy time for the Dune team as well. But we're here, and if we stand together with a positive outlook, I believe we can overcome anything. And that's all it has to be. We just have to have a positive outlook into the future. Being negative doesn't solve anything, and in fact, it doesn't boost any morale. So I just want to encourage everyone that just hang in there. We're gonna finish this. There is a pandemic happening at the moment, and I hope that everyone can understand it. But thank you for all our backers. And I hope to give an update an update in the very near future. So thank you, and bye for now.